What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 419 of the Smark Moments Smack Talk podcast. It's the Hot Tags edition of the week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and everything else that we feel like talking about that happened over the past few days in the world of professional wrestling. Who are we? You should know by now. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and my other host, as always, is Robert DeFelice.
What's up, Tony? It's that Tuesday morning, December 10th. I hope you're doing well on this Tuesday morning. Is it Tuesday in your mind?
It's still April in my mind. So.
I see. The hottest tag of the week. Inquiring minds want to know, have you found that pulse?
I have not found that pulse, and for the past week, I have been dealing with other medical issues that I won't get into. Things that were at least scary for a little bit, that I should have gone to the doctor, get it checked out, and I decided, no, I'm too busy. I'll just assume that it's okay.
I know we don't usually do this at the beginning of the podcast, but this is as good a time as any to say, donate to the Patreon to make sure that Tony can go to the doctor.
Look, if I haven't gone to the doctor in like a dozen years, I'm sure it's fine.
But we're not here to talk about Tony's health. We're here to talk about the also wildly declining world of professional wrestling.
Look, one of us is more healthy.
It's you, I think.
I don't know. We'll see. There's at least stock people that pay attention to WWE. I don't know what my doctor would end up saying. Other than, why the fuck haven't you gone here in the past 10 years or so? Yeah. No, that's the thing. So, we got lots of things to talk about here. Usually when we have the hot tags and there's quite a bit of information, it's stuff that's all over the place, and look at that. It's another thing that's all over the place. We got awards to talk about, we got releases to talk about, we got people quitting, we got people getting stuff stolen, we got Hall of Famers. Really a wild ride you're in store for. So, as always, I want you to drop your comments below. Tell us your thoughts on all these topics we were talking about. And obviously, if you are listening to us on the audio-only platforms, you can't leave a comment. So you should leave a star rating or whatever they have over there and hop on over to YouTube. Now, here's the thing. When you're over on YouTube, if you would be so kind as to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already, ring that little bell for the notifications while you're doing that and dropping a comment below. All that stuff is going to help out quite a bit. Now, if you are listening to the other types of platforms out there, there's a new one to the schedule, because not only can you listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and many of the other things that are out there, but TuneIn finally decided to update it, so you can listen on TuneIn, which means that you can also listen to us on like your Echo and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to start things off with the most recent thing, because why not? I'll just get this out of the way. WWE's most recent network special was Table for Three, Impactful Reunion, I should say, with AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, and Sting. Now, you didn't get a chance to check this out, but
I did not.
I would recommend it. It was essentially just them talking about Impact the entire time and how they got together in TNA, the first times that they've met each other, some different stories like that. And there's not really too much that I could like spoil to be like, oh, this is a great story about this or whatever. No like wild off the chart moments or anything that they talk about, but it's basically just, 20 minutes or so of them talking about some little things here and there. And I've never been a big TNA guy, so you don't have to be a big TNA guy to actually enjoy that. And I think it's worth checking out. One thing in particular was that they showed a shot, like a photo of the Freedom Fighters, which was before they did the whole face paint for Warrior and Sting. And man, it is weird seeing Jim Hellwig without face paint on.
Yeah.
Just like, until they said that was him, I was just like, oh, wait, who's Sting teaming with there? Who's this guy? And then it's like, holy fuck, that's Warrior? No. And I'm like, god damn it, yeah. I had to pause it and look at it. I'm like, wow, that actually is him. Just one of those weird things. Sting said that he like really enjoyed the Joker version of the character a lot more than a lot of people even would know that he really enjoyed it. So that's interesting too.
And that's good. I like when talent has fun. Like, you like Joker Sting. Wasn't a great gimmick, but if he had fun with it, I'll probably look back on that more fondly, knowing that he's having fun.
Yeah, and it's like just some little moments like that here and there. So I say give it the watch. Check it out. See it. let's go back and talk about something here that we'll talk back again at some point about all this, but the NXT 2019 Year-End Awards are out there now. The nominees, I should say, are out there. Last week, they decided that they were going to announce that this is going to be happening, and here's the breakdown for anybody who wants to know like how this works if you didn't watch NXT and you don't really know all the information. The polls are open up until Wednesday, December 18th, and they will announce the winners on the January 1st edition of NXT, which I think that more so now shows that they probably aren't filming on January 1st. It's probably going to be like a recap episode or something like that. But they might still. Like in the past, they've
Well,
done that kind of stuff.
All Elite is filming, so I would think they would be.
They might not. I mean, if they don't end up recording an actual, like, we're going to have matches, we're going to do this kind of thing, then they're going to get killed in the ratings because it's just, an awards thing. But they might just want to give people the night off and do some kind of thing like that. Or maybe they'll record some matches ahead of time and have a little pre-tape thing or something. They haven't really quite specified yet, so we'll see. But if you want to vote for these, what you have to do is you have to tweet the hashtag of the category and the hashtag of the person that you are voting for. And
Just put a poll on your website. I'm sorry.
that's
That
their
is
way to
so
try to get,
bizarre.
extra little Twitter coverage and stuff. And I don't blame them for it, but at the same time, how are you going to really keep track of it? Especially
Right.
since it's like they say, try to only limit it to one vote. You've seen how hard it is for me to get people to vote on Champsgiving, and that's a considerably less wide of a margin of people to have to control. So I think it's kind of a little bit of a flawed system, but at the end of the day, if all they're caring about is that they get a lot of tweets and a lot of coverage in that capacity, they'll get more that way than through a poll. So I understand it. But I wanted to break it down some of these categories and kind of talk about like our predictions and who we would vote for. I
All right.
obviously want everybody else to do the same thing in the comments below. So, as I mentioned that earlier, go ahead and do that while we're doing this. So, in alphabetical order of the categories, there is Breakout Star of the Year. The nominees are Angel Garza, Candice LeRae, Damian Priest, Dominic Dijakovic, Joe Coffey, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Piper Niven, and Rhea Ripley. To me, my prediction and the person I'd vote for is Keith Lee.
Rhea Ripley.
She would be my number 2.
I just think Lee. I think people are very excited about him because he got to eliminate Rollins and stood off with Roman. But Ripley's consistency is amazing.
There's some people on this list that I don't quite understand why they're even in the category. Like Candice LeRae, she was a part of this last year. And like Damian Priest, did he really do anything?
I'm not big on him.
I think he's got some potential, but I wouldn't put him out as like compare him to like Angel Garza. Garza's done more. And compare him to Dijakovic. Dijakovic's a hell of a lot better than Damian Priest. Like there's that kind of issues that I think get in the way of certain people. And I can't imagine that somebody's going to pick Joe Coffey. I mean, some people are obviously, but like Joe Coffey's not going to beat out Rhea Ripley or Keith Lee. It's those two that are in the lead. It has to be.
Yeah, I noticed that they're really including NXT UK in on a lot of these.
As they should, because, it is NXT. But I can't imagine anybody under any of these categories winning a category for NXT UK. There's not a single one of these that stands out to me as being like, well, they got a shot for this one. Even when it comes to like female competitor of the year. So those options are Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, and Toni Storm. Look, I don't care if Kaylee Ray is the current champion right now. She is not beating out these other people.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's either Shayna Baszler for being totally dominant or Rhea Ripley for getting a lot of momentum in the past month.
It's going to be Rhea, but it should be Shayna. Shayna owned the division this year.
Did Ripley didn't lose the title to Storm this year, did she? That was last year, wasn't it?
No, that was this year.
It was?
It was in January.
Oh, then that kind of doesn't even really count. That's basically last year.
What?
January is last year all the time, That's how that works.
Okay.
Hey, if I still think it's March or February or whatever the hell
You
I said
said
it was,
April.
there you go. So I'm going back further. Hey, if it's still 1996 to me. Oh, yeah, wow. Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, Kaylee Ray. Yeah, I'm looking at the title reigns for this year. Huh. So, yeah, Rhea Ripley was champion earlier this year and kind of farted around for a while and didn't really do anything, and then ramped up the uh, momentum towards the end of this year. So she's got a shot. Sadly, Bianca Belair didn't really accomplish all that much. She should have accomplished more. Io Shirai, she's had some great matches too, but I still can't see picking her over Ripley or Baszler.
It's Ripley, but it should be Baszler.
Future star of the year, no Cesar Bononi on this one.
Damn.
Cesaro Bananas. But
I
there
love
is
Chiquita Banana. He's my guy.
There is Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Dakota Kai. I'm curious about that one since she's been well a part of NXT way before this year. Ilya Dragunov, which I'm getting more and more fond of his name, just the way that I keep hearing them pronounce it. Ilya Dragunov. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a fucking Bond villain. Isaiah Swerve Scott, Kushida, Tainara Kanchi, Tegan Knox, and Xia Li.
All right. Let's go through this. Tegan Knox is fantastic. Dakota Kai also fantastic. Xia Li's pretty good.
Big fan of Xia Li. She went from, oh my god, why are you even employing her, to holy shit. And then she's been improving ever since then even more. So yeah, like she's got a bright future ahead of her. Wouldn't be my pick for this year. Tainara, no.
Ilya Dragunov is pretty good. I like this match with Cesaro. Bronson Reed is my dude. I picked him 10th overall in our fantasy draft.
Yeah, that was still weird.
I like Bronson Reed. I think he's got some legs on him. I mean, he's a big, thick boy. I can't wait to see him go to NXT UK and fight the big, strong boy, Tyler Bate. It's a battle of the boys.
Kushida's got some potential. I don't know how far I'd really bank on him going just because of his size and everything. He's a former, not a former, he's a future cruiserweight champion at the very least, I'm assuming. Isaiah Swerve Scott, they're giving him a lot of a push, so I'm thinking that he is going to potentially win this one.
I think it's Dakota Kai.
She's got a lot of potential now that she just. It's always that type of thing where if somebody does something big around the time that something happens like this, that massively boosts their volume up. So Dakota Kai, like, she's talented and she has this going for her. There's a good chance that she wins that. And Cameron Grimes, he's done some good stuff too. He wouldn't be my pick, but I'm sure he's going to get some votes here and there.
I like the mushroom stomp from Cameron Grimes, but I'm going to go with my heart and say Bronson Reed. I like how you just laugh it off.
I like Bronson Reed. I think he's got a chance to go somewhere, but he's not my pick. No. Male competitor of the year: Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Tyler Bate, which to me was like, wow, what? Tyler Bate, huh? Velveteen Dream, and Walter, or as he would say for the NXT UK, Walter. Everything's fucking angry. Tyler Bate's the lowest to me on this one. Like, he's great in what he does, but he's still not male competitor of the year compared to these other people. Like, there's a big gap between them to me. And for that matter, I gotta say, Walter, there's a big gap between him and the rest of the people too. Like, there's a very distinct C with Tyler Bate, B with Walter, and everybody else is A. Cole, Gargano, Ciampa, and Dream are on a different level. And out of the bunch, I'd have to go with Adam Cole, because Gargano and Ciampa, they've kind of split the year a little bit with injuries. Cole's been around the entire time.
I'm also going with Adam Cole because you cannot deny this man is right. He was fucking on fire this year. He owned everything. He owned November. He was on every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. He's the only superstar in history. You know, they love that. I can say he was on every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in modern times. You know, I'm sure the weird NXT game show, there's plenty of them, but in modern times, it's just Adam Cole, and he's the man.
And we've got NXT Match of the Year. There's a bunch of categories, options, nominees, I should say.
It's Cole and Gargano at New York.
You know what, though? I don't know if that's a guarantee. Because
Not,
Cole and Gargano at New York should definitely be one of the options, and I'm glad that it's on here. The TakeOver Toronto one, though, that also has a lot of people that I'm sure they're going to kind of
wait,
split
which one did they kill each other in? Like, which one
Both.
did they just not? But there was one where they just did not stop. There was a cage finish. So Adam Cole, by the way, just recognizing this, fell from the top of a cage twice through a table this year.
I feel like what the issue here is, though, one match is Gargano Cole 2 out of 3 falls NXT Championship match from TakeOver. The other one is Gargano Cole 2 out of 3 falls NXT Championship match from TakeOver. So it's like, I got a feeling that most people, I mean, we're talking about, let's be honest, hate to run you guys down, but wrestling fans, not the brightest bulbs. You get people that tweet things to me all the time or send me direct. I got a thing earlier, somebody asking me if I could make the Daniel Bryan replica belts and put those on the shelves.
Excuse me?
I'm like, I'm not WWE, so no, I can't. You know, like, if you get those people, they're not going to know the difference between the 2 out of 3 falls NXT title matches from TakeOver between the two same guys, you know? We're even trying to remember, like, well, which one's the one where he did? So
okay,
it's hard.
Toronto was the one where they kill each other because that was SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
So Toronto would be my match of the year.
And it's like, those are fantastic. And plenty of the other ones on this are fantastic too. But because of that confusion, I think that people might go the Women's War Games match. It's going to be my random prediction.
Nah.
But I mean, Viking Raiders versus Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, amazing match. Lee Dijakovic on TV. I mean, I wrote up multiple articles about how those two kept stealing the show. There's plenty of matches that are just like, this match is fucking great. That match is great. That match is great, which is awesome. NXT Tag Team of the Year, Grizzled Young Veterans, South Wales Subculture, Street Profits, Undisputed Era, and Viking Raiders. It's got to be Undisputed Era.
Yep. What else can you say? Listen, Viking Raiders are great. They've been on Raw since April. Street Profits were just hitting their stride when they were called up. Undisputed Era has owned the motherfucker since entering the game, so Undisputed Era all the way.
Yeah, nobody's going Drake and Gibson. Nobody's going...
I always have love for Mark Andrews and Flash Noel Gallagher. Love them. I think they're great. But, you know...
Did you say Flash Mole Gallagher?
I said Flash Noel Gallagher.
I think you said mole. I'm like, where the fuck's the mole coming in?
He has a mole, Tony.
Austin Powers 3?
Yes. Oh, hey, Barry, what's up?
Sorry.
God, this elephant just keeps coming in the room.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's got to be the Undisputed Era.
Takeover of the year. You got TakeOver, you got it's all the takeovers, including the NXT UK
I'm gonna
ones.
guess TakeOver.
I'm going Elimination Chamber.
I gotta go with, for an overall show, New York was amazing.
I remember liking 25.
That's the one where Cole wins the belt, right?
I think so.
But I'm going with New York because the tag match with Vikings and Ricochet and Black, the Walter Pete Dunne match, and the Cole Gargano match.
New York could definitely win that. At the very least, it's totally not going to be Blackpool or Cardiff.
But to be fair, I think Walter versus Tyler Bate in Cardiff was a fantastic match that was swept under the rug because it went on the same time as CM Punk speaking at StarCast. But that was a great match. And Blackpool had some bangers too. Like the tag match at Blackpool, and the Joe Coffey versus Pete Dunne match. Ridiculous.
There is overall competitor of the year, which is the male and the female side of things.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, yep. And rivalry of the year, British Strong Style versus Imperium. Yeah, Adam Cole just wins. To me, British Strong Styles versus Imperium shouldn't even be on this list.
They needed a token NXT UK feud.
Yeah, to me, that's just kind of like, nah. Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think it should be on the list either.
Yeah, because this was a sad truth. The year came down to Cole and Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else is on there? I think it's like Baszler and Ripley's on there too, right?
Baszler, Ripley, and Candice and Io.
All right, none of those.
No, it's
Zero.
Cole Gargano.
It's Cole and Gargano. And it would have been Ciampa and Gargano again, but injuries prevented it.
Yeah. So those are your options to vote for. Go ahead and vote while you can, because they shut the polls off on the 18th. So, go ahead.
I'm going to throw out a wild one. Best NXT gear of the year. I'm going to go with Toronto and Johnny Gargano's Wolverine gear.
Probably would go with something Velveteen Dream related, but I'm not sure offhand.
He doesn't have this year.
I might have that in my notes for best ring gear of the year for the Smark Out Moment End of the Year Awards. I'm not too sure yet. I don't have my list up. Which, by the way, that is happening pretty soon. And if you want to know what our schedule is, I'll quickly run that down. Next week, we are going to have the mailbag, and then that week after that is Christmas. And we're not going to record on Christmas. We're going to record earlier in the week, probably the 21st or the 22nd. And that's when we're going to do the Smarkies. So we'll see about that. I haven't quite figured out exactly when I'm going to do that yet. And we'll kind of plan that out, and we'll do things accordingly and kind of hop around and post that stuff. So Smarkies, yay.
I better win co-host of the year again. Like, I'm on everything.
Well, you have a lot less competition this year. There's been a lot less co-hosts. Let's see. Let's move on to another one that we got here. Let's talk about the New Day. The New Day have their podcast. They put the second episode out, and on this, the whole entire podcast was them running through these different ideas that had been pitched to them of potential names for the New Day stable. There's like 50 names on the list. We're not going to read them all out because obviously, why would we read them all out?
There are 51 names on this list. We should read them all out because they're just wild and amazing. But, we got time to save.
Let's put it this way. Let's read them quickly and stop at different ones if we want to. There's the Beat, the Tribe, which would have been bad. They called that one out, and I was just like, oh man, why did, and yeah, for exact reasons. You don't do that. No. Perfect Harmony, Healing Through Harmony.
I feel like if they were called Perfect Harmony, they would have been doing a Boyz II Men gimmick.
A lot of these were music based. And there was like the Sensations, which is very like much their person's like the Temptations and stuff, which is like they weren't really supposed to be musicians. Like I don't know why these people thought that was where they should go with.
But they were supposed to be preachers, and that comes through in names such as Genesis, Revelation, Mason of Salvation, the Congregation.
I'm not into those types of names. Like I don't like. Okay, we're going to call ourselves Revelation. For that matter, like, I do not like the name The Undisputed Era.
I don't like it either, but it's grown on me because they're so fucking good.
I love the theme. I love the wrestlers that are in part of that. I even like the logo, but I don't like the name The Undisputed Era.
I think that was like a quick brainstorm, and it stuck.
Yeah. But I do like, out of this list, like, I mean, there's a lot that most of them I absolutely hate. Crusaders, Exodus, Redeem,
what's
Risen.
Up with the Amen?
That one is the one that I liked the best. I actually liked the Amen. Out of all of them, probably the best. Because I was like, you know what? That could work.
This only works if Woods changes his television name to Austin Creed, and he's the leader, and they're the Amen. like the X. It's got like the double entendre of X-Men and they're preachers, so amen.
Uh-huh. And it's like, what does the A stand for? The A stands for like awesome. It stands for amazing. It stands for they could have got this could have worked. I think it could have worked.
Since with the whole preacher thing, I like the name the House of Positive Energy because they're going with that anyway with the power of positivity, and it's an acronym for hope,
Mm.
and I think that's really good. Name I don't understand, KBX.
Well, I'm glad they made fun of the idea that that's the whole Team PCB type thing, because it's so stupid. Just
Kofi. Oh fuck,
Kofi, Big
I
E,
get
and
it. I get
Xavier.
it.
Yeah, and that's just there had to be one writer that thought that that was an idea, and unfortunately they got the whole PCB thing down. But
The Million Man Ministry.
that was one that they pointed out that they were just like, "Wow, that's racist," and it's like, "Yup, yup, it is."
uh,
The writer that wrote that had to have been like, "All right, I'm going to go in a direction here. I apologize in advance, but I'm just throwing it out there. What about?" And then you go, "Nah, dude,
you're fine.
nah, don't, no, you don't, no."
Well,
Just
it's like if it's like just some listen, if it's some woke white kid, like if Dewey Foley suggested Million Man Ministry, like that's a no.
at the very least, if you bring out the idea that you're like, "Look, I do not sign off on this, but I'm tossing it out there,"
Yeah,
because sometimes when you're brainstorming, you have to kind of toss out bad ideas just to kind of feel like you're resetting yourself. And maybe that was one of them, and it just got on the sheet for some reason. There's all this resurrection things. There's penance, the sainthood.
excommunication again. Like I'm a um. So there's also The Voice, which you're not getting through that one. They talked about the Prime, which were like, yeah, no, you already have the prime time players, and you wanted Titus with us.
Yeah, and that's kind of indicative of some of the other issues too.
I really like, and you can tell Woods was supposed to be a leader here. There's like Brothers of Xavier, Excommunication. I like the Sentinel. I think that would have worked, depending on the tone and tenor of the group.
I'm still not a big fan of that.
I think we can all agree that Vibe and Vision ain't it.
You know what's stupid
Trilogy
though?
would work, but
Vibe
not for
and
them.
Vision, I actually think could work for a different team. It's stupid.
I
Like
would
it's
say the same thing for Trilogy and Triverse. Like, depending on who you give this to, it can work. But like the Achievers,
yeah,
bruh,
that's
like what?
yeah. A lot of these could not have been somebody's like best work, and if it was their best work, oof.
I think Woods threw out that like they were gonna make him the leader and there was gonna be like a video game stable. I think if you're gonna do that, the the idea of the name the Beacon or like I don't know, some of these are fucking weird, bro. Like
I never really liked when names for stables are like the singular whatever thing, like the beacon. Well, the three people are the beacon. The beacon of what? Why are they the beacon? That's not like threatening sounding. For that
that's like
matter,
the
I'll say
big
it. I
city.
don't like the name The New Day.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this off air. I don't think that fits them.
Yeah, I
It
actually
happened
think
to be
the
like a new
Amen.
day for them, where they were changing their characters. But I, you know what moment I constantly draw back to here? Do you remember when Vince McMahon announced that Roman was going to defend his title in the Royal Rumble? And he's like, "It can be anybody. Uh, I feel a hallelujah coming on." And people are like, "What the fuck? Where's the New Day?" I feel like he was still going with the preacher gimmick like a year after they debuted, and we're not doing that. And he's like pushing, "I feel a hallelujah." And I'm like, watch the. uh, and then of course he said, "Where's Dolph Ziggler?" Which was one of my favorite moments wrestling history because Vince couldn't get Dolph Ziggler's name right.
Funny enough, Rob feeling hallelujah, but he turned into a transformer throughout this whole thing.
did my
Yeah, your audio just went deep.
well, much like the beacon and the amen, I am more than the eye.
Is that why you like the Sentinels? Because the Sentinel Prime?
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, isn't the beacon a thing from Transformers 2 or something?
Could be. Apparently, they were really going to go with Woods being a nerd. Like the modern Marvels. You can't tell me that's not them playing off superheroes.
The Modern Marvels is also a name that sounds like somebody pitched from the 1940s or something. Like,
all right, the Modern Marvels really sounds like a tag team of like, hey, it's Ricochet and Rey Mysterio. They're the Modern Marvel.
see, I don't even think it's like that. I don't think of like Marvel, the superhero side of things. If I think the modern Marvels in the context of wrestling, I think back to like, oh, that's got to be a tag team of like Don Morocco and Hercules or something, like where they're just like, I don't know, what are we tagging these guys up? Oh, they're the Modern Marvels. Look at them. Oh, he body slammed him there. Oh, like that kind of thing. Yeah, so I mean, there's like, this list is very indicative of the struggles that people go through with a lot of these things. Because if this was just to figure out the name, let alone getting the group together and trying to figure out how like the dynamics would work and all that, then shit, you know?
Yeah.
So very cool episode for that. Just kind of wanted to run that down a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to run down an extra little plug here. The merchandise shops. Go ahead and check out the TeePublic and Redbubble for A Mango Tees, for Fanboys Anonymous, and of course for Smark Out Moment. Actually went through recently and I just double checked that I made sure that everything on TeePublic now has the magnet option. So you can buy magnets for things. I don't know how they work, but you know.
Well, typically, Tony, magnets stick to things that they stick to. You put them on a fridge, they stick to a fridge.
You don't know the whole meme?
No.
Everybody educate Rob in the comments below.
Yeah, apparently magnets are a meme and I missed it.
We're talking like years ago. This was a meme at this point. We mentioned the Patreon earlier. That is the thing that I've plugged quite a bit, and I will continue to plug because now I have a graphic actually set up for Darkcast. So the Darkcast thing is going to be something that I definitely want to get the ball rolling. And if you donate towards that tier, it is the $20 tier, then I will do at least one a month. I'm hoping to do 2, maybe even 3, maybe depending on the amount of people, maybe 4. Maybe I'll do 1 a week. But I want to make them Patreon exclusive podcasts that maybe don't necessarily have to follow any sort of pattern. Like, it doesn't have to be like, we're doing Superstar Scores or something like that, but it might just be like, let's just talk about some stuff, or I don't know, kind of taking ideas of what you would like to see for Darkcast material. So that's the balls rolling on that, and obviously the same thing will apply that have applied in the past, where if you got $1, then $1 can go a long way, especially when more and more people do that. That can actually be a huge difference. If everybody who was subscribed to this channel donated $1 a month, it would make the big enough difference in the world that I would actually quit multiple other jobs and focus primarily just on Smack Talk and Smark Out Moment. That's a big difference that you might not even realize that's the case. But
more importantly, he could afford to get me a Christmas gift. What are you getting me for Christmas, Daddy?
My charming smile. I don't know.
Fine, it's a nice smile. I accept it.
There's that. There's the Pick Your Poison tier, where that's the one where you can specifically request certain special features to make sure that we're giving you the content that you directly want. If you're just like, man, I really want these guys to watch December to Dismember and do some kind of, review of that, or like, there's this one match that I want them to see, and I want them to do a fan tracks for, or well, a fan ounce table for.
You guys
this
know
one
you want us to call King of the Ring 95. Mabel wins. It's great.
There's that. There's
Uh,
also the option for the Fanboys Anonymous material, because if you're donating towards the fanboy stuff, then obviously you could pick stuff for fanboys. Like Guest 5 in the past has done uh the reboot in Pokemon type thing. So there's fan tracks. You know, you want us to watch a movie that's, superhero movie or something like that, then cool, do that. Do a movie review. There's lots of different options, and we'll talk things out if you do it. You just send me an email or something, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, donate to that, and we will do whatever it is that you're asking for, as long as it's within reason, and we can kind of sort all that stuff out. So Patreon.
I want to do more Kevin Conroy Batman stuff, Guest 5.
I would
Just throwing that out there.
totally never be opposed to that. Conroy is the Batman for me.
Yes, he is.
For that matter, just as far as something else that's on the horizon, and actually it's not on the horizon anymore, it's done. Claim to Fame. A new segment up on the website that you might not even be aware of, because it's not really like, there's not like a spot for it on the website that stands out right now. But if you go on the nav bar, the little menu on the website, it's underneath the roster section. And Claim to Fame is something I had talked about quite a bit in the past, where it was the idea that I would take the roster and I would funnel that into this perspective of who would potentially get into the Hall of Fame based off of if they just retired today, that kind of a thing. So it's going to be a list that I change up every once in a while, and for the most part, it would be that I would take people from lower on the list and move them higher, because it's highly unlikely that people go like, oh, now they're not going to get into the Hall of Fame, unless it's like, a Chris Benoit situation or something, but hopefully that never fucking happens again. And, like there's people on the list right now that, just to somewhat spoil at least a little bit of it or something like that, but I've got, say, on the A+, like, just signed the dotted line. They obviously are going to be in the Hall of Fame. They obviously are going to be a headliner material type. There's, like, The Undertaker or Charlotte Flair. People where it's like, there's absolutely no way that John Cena is not a headliner Hall of Famer at some point. And then there's people on the definitely, but maybe they wouldn't be the headliner that year, but they more than likely would be, like AJ Styles or Seth Rollins in the future. He is a potential headliner. Becky Lynch is definitely a potential headliner. Definitely going to be in there. And
Sasha Banks already has a Hall of Fame career to me. Like,
she's on that
first
list.
woman everything. So
every one of the 4 horsewomen are either in the A+ or the A category, because it's like, come on, they obviously are. But even surprisingly enough to some people, R-Truth is in my definitely category, my A category. Because it's like, R-Truth has won a shit ton of titles, and he's very well liked. There's no way that he is not getting into the Hall of Fame. And there's people that are on the most likely scale. The people like Asuka, Heath Slater, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Zack Ryder, Shelton Benjamin, etc. There's the 50-50 shot people, somebody like a Cesaro, where it's like, they don't really seem to love him all that much, but he has done quite a bit, so he would go into Hall of Fame if a lot of people were choosing. But maybe not, I don't know, like Kalisto. He might not, especially if he leaves.
Weird question. Barry Horowitz, Hall of Fame, yes or no?
That's tough. It sounds kind of mean, but I would say no.
Because, we're going to talk about it in a little bit. Hall of Fame names came out today, and he constantly posts on social media, my fans, let WWE know that I should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, I almost think, well, no, because you're probably the one guy who's in a bracket lower than Jannetty. But at the same time, yes, because you're such a good hand and, like, you did so much for the industry.
It's tough because it's like the Coco
He's a
Beware
legacy
type
award,
thing.
I think.
Yeah, like I could see that more so. And now, I'm not too familiar with Barry Horowitz outside of WWE to be able to say, like, he won the NWA whatever title, or he did this, or he did that.
He beat Skip.
But it's like, you don't have to be like a, 20-time world champion to be in the Hall of Fame. Coco Beware's been in the Hall of Fame for a bunch of different years, and they've gotten other people that have been in the mix like that. That's why, like, Heath Slater to me is on a higher scale that I'm sure a lot of other people would have put him on there. I have him on my B level of most likely. Like, Heath Slater to me has more of a chance to get in the Hall of Fame than John Morrison does right now. Even though John Morrison just came back and who knows what he's up to. Drew McIntyre actually is lower. McIntyre's lower on my score right now than Heath Slater. Because I'm like, you know what? McIntyre really hasn't done all that much. And Heath Slater's been a good jobber for a bunch of years now.
McIntyre was the backup band to Heath Slater, so we're a 3-man band.
Funny enough, McIntyre and Jinder Mahal are in the tier lower than Heath Slater, so it does make sense.
Well, hold on, Jinder Mahal was the WWE champion.
Yeah, but still,
No, there has to be some importance to the WWE championship.
Well, like they're on the same scale as the B team when Titus O'Neil. Some people where it's like I can understand it, but but then there's probably not. There's definitely not. There's a lot of them are the unknowns right now because it's just like look, they're too early in their careers. Like I can't realistically put Ricochet on any level because it's like well, the fucker just got on the main roster a couple months ago. Really,
Humberto Carrillo is definitely a Hall of Fame guy.
There's only a few people that are like, they're definitely not getting in there. Like, there's no way like Grand Metalik does based off of what he's accomplished or lack of accomplishments, and he's probably going to leave. So it's like, well, that's not going to go anywhere with Grand Metalik, So check out Claim to Fame. I opened it up to comments, so people can leave some comments here. And there are some people who have been wondering, like, why do I have the New Day in the A+ category? Which to me, I'm just like, because they're the New Day. Like, look at all they've done. And I'll be updating that here and there, and we'll see how that goes. But that's something else for you to just be aware of. All these little tinkers and changes and stuff on the site here and there. And yeah. So stay tuned for that stuff. But anyway, we got other hot tags to go into here. We're not even close to done talking about a lot of these different topics. One of them being that the United Kingdom Championship and Walter's passport were stolen at the recent Evolve show.
So, right off the bat, I want to talk about the fact that there have been no updates to this situation, which is bizarre.
I mean, he didn't even check on the side of the road to see.
I mean, yeah, that too.
How great would it have been if it would have turned out that he went to, was it Longhorn?
Longhorn, yeah.
If it got stolen there, and it would have been like, this is like Longhorn's thing now. Like, I think it's funny. It sucks. Obviously there's nothing good about the situation, but it is kind of weird that it's like in 2019, the AEW title and the United Kingdom title both got stolen. That's so weird.
Well, what's very bad about it is apparently in Logan Square, where the Evolve show is going down, like robbing wrestlers, specifically wrestlers, is becoming a thing. And Matt Nix, who both wrestles, he wrestled the jobber match against Cody, and he runs freelance wrestling. He was talking about how it's a shame that this is happening, and there will be extra security on hand for freelance events. It just sucks. Don't take advantage of wrestlers.
Don't steal shit.
That too. I mean, that too, but you shouldn't have to fucking say that.
Yeah. I mean, I can justify stealing some things in certain contexts, especially from like big corporations that are gouging the hell out of you, and if you can figure out a way to do something or whatever, like I'm not gonna mince words and say that I've not used somebody's passwords on a streaming platform or something like that, where it's like, yeah, I've downloaded torrents or something, but like, I mean, hey, government,
Jesus
I haven't
Christ,
done
you're gonna
that.
be in jail tomorrow.
Yeah. I would have been in jail a long time ago for plenty of other things, but
tell me more.
well, they got an infirmary in jail too. Maybe I'll get checked out. So that sucks. Like, and his passport. Like, what are you stealing somebody's passport for? What the fuck? Don't be an ass. I can understand if you're the type of person who's stealing things for the wrong reasons to begin with, because obviously most people that are doing that are doing it for the wrong reasons anyway. But like, that if like maybe you stole the title because you thought you could sell it, which you're stupid because you're not going to be able to. But you're going to steal somebody's passport? You can't do anything with that, Yeah. It sucks. And it sucks that they got to buy a new title and they got to do all that kind of stuff. But, one of those things. Hopefully he doesn't get any kind of heat on him,
Yeah, I would really hope not.
It's kind of ridiculous
I
if he
mean,
does, because I mean, what's he gonna do?
they stole his passport too, which is fucking bullshit. And they stole stuff from like Timothy Thatcher as well. Fuck people.
Yeah, people are the worst. And let's talk about oh, let's talk about Super ACH.
Okay. You know, let me. It's sad.
Should we preface it with the usual bullshit?
Let's just go with this. This has become a very sad situation. It's clear that he's having an episode, and I don't feel guilty in saying that, as this motherfucker is clearly having an episode. Maybe I shouldn't call them that's just the way I talk. But like
it was something that was called into question very early on, and then
yeah.
it became obvious, and it just becomes more and more obvious, where it's just
Yep.
like, okay, now somebody needs to step in, and somebody needs to get him some help. He needs some help. This guy has something going on that is really putting a bane on his existence, and it's not doing him any favors for
You have
things to
loved ones with
continue.
mental issues, right?
And it's the type of thing that it's like, you know what? Like, you got to help people, And his situation, for anybody who doesn't know what's going on, he was hired by MLW, and within, what was it, 2 days? The
One
next
day.
day, something
Within
like that? Yeah.
12 hours.
He decides he quits wrestling entirely. And MLW's like, all right, if it makes him happy, they kind of wash their hands of it.
First of all, MLW is a great rising organization. They get ACH. It's a big boom. They put him in the ring with Injustice, which is kind of like, honestly, a faction based on, hey, we're getting mistreated in this promotion because we're African American. So I'm thinking, oh, that's a good fit. He's working opposite them, but he's got to do the turn. I'm booking this stuff in my head already, and then this shit comes out, and you're like, come on, man, just get off Twitter. Just stop tweeting. Do your bookings. Have a good career. You're very talented. And he said something to the effect of like, I'm actually gonna see if I can pull the tweets because I want to make sure I get this verbatim. But essentially, he's saying, I quit wrestling. Screw you, Marks. I don't want to do this anymore. You made chasing my dream not fun. And then he says, I think AEW is awesome, but I'm trying to read this properly. But me heart is being a WWE super, all caps, star, and becoming one of the absolute best ever to do it. So, I don't know.
It's the type, like, that's like, well, then you did the complete opposite of heading in that direction, pal. Like.
By the way, his Twitter account has since been hacked.
Really?
Like, first, unless he's just really off.
Well, was that called into question with the bitty bitty boom boom thing?
So that starts it.
So that's
right now
that's,
he's just posting. Right now he's just posting Joker gifs, like from the most recent Joker movie.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where we're seeing this downward spiral even more.
His Twitter picture right now is Shad Gaspard, which we'll get to in a minute, with it's like, instead of there being tape over his mouth, it's the controversial George Miles logo over his mouth. Huh. And then, but before that, it was a picture of Jim Cornette wearing the George Miles t-shirt.
What the hell?
So people are thinking he's hacked. Right? It's all Joker. It is all Joker. I don't know, man.
It's getting more and more concerning.
Yeah.
Like, it starts off as being like, wow, this is a weird thing, and then it goes into like, oh, what the hell? And then it becomes funny, and then it becomes like, all right, like, this isn't funny anymore. And then now it's like, mm, this is kind of unsettling. It's a shame, because obviously he does need to get some kind of help. I don't know what help. Obviously, I'm not a trained psychologist that's like, well, give him this type of medication or any of that kind of thing. But like, I think that
So,
his friends in the industry need to really like sit him down
and then Chad Gaspard says people tried to do that, but clearly he just wants the attention. It's not a good look, and
it's making WWE look a hell of a lot better. I'm
it's
sure that
making
they're
WWE look real okay for just,
mhm,
you know what? They let him go. They let him do his thing.
yeah, they kind of are getting out of this
Wash
one.
their hands.
Yep. Speaking of people getting out of WWE, though, haha, transition.
Woo!
WWE released 4 people this week.
All
They
right,
officially let go Sin Cara, Luke
good,
Harper,
good.
and The Ascension.
That
Before
one
we
made me
even
sad.
before we even get into those ones, you and I had one of the same reactions. No colognes? Like,
So,
really?
so Epico and Primo are still hired by this company. What even?
They have literally not wrestled, unless Cage Match has the wrong information, which they're pretty damn good on this, so I trust them. The Colognes have not wrestled on WWE television or house shows this year. How the
Yeah.
fuck are they still, like, at what point do they become like, okay, well, we'll just not deal with that anymore? Like, there's very clearly no value attributed to the Colognes, because this isn't a matter of that one of them's been injured and that they have been waiting to have one of them return or something like that. They have wrestled for other companies in the meantime. Like, I'm gonna look it up right now just to be sure. Primo, he had a situation where he was a part of. No, wait, no. Okay. Let me reiterate. Not reiterate. Let me go back and retcon what I had said before. They did wrestle on something WWE related this year. They wrestled a few dark matches on SmackDown in February.
Who'd they lose to?
If you go to, so this is the most recent stuff that they've done. Primo, otherwise known as, he goes by Eddie Colon. He wrestled in August of this year at WWC Anniversario 46.
Who'd he wrestle?
He beat Noriega. I don't know who that is. Before that, in June, he lost to Gilbert. I don't know who Gilbert is. For
Gilbert.
the WWC Universal title. Then you go all the way back to February, and the Colognes lost a dark match before SmackDown to Heavy Machinery. They, before that, lost a dark match on SmackDown to R-Truth and Rey Mysterio. Before that, they lost a dark match on SmackDown to Heavy Machinery. Before that, they lost a dark match on SmackDown to Heavy Machinery. Before that, they teamed up with Aiden English, that goes to show you how far along this is. When the hell did Aiden English wrestle last? And lost to Shelton Benjamin and the Club on a live show in January. The same exact match again earlier the day before that. They lost another dark match before 205 Live in January to Heavy Machinery. And then Primo wrestled for WWC 2 more times. He's wrestled a grand total of 11 matches this year. Not a single one of them has been not a dark match, except for 2 live events that he lost and for WWC. So if they're just working for WWC, why the fuck are they still employed by WWE? Like, they're just paying them to not go elsewhere, but if they clearly haven't thought about them being people that are useful for, we're talking a couple of years at this point. Let them go, you know?
Maybe it's a weird deal where it's not costing them a lot of money.
Even then, even if it's costing them $6, let them go, you know? Add that money towards catering.
What's the difference between Otis Dozovic and the Clones?
I don't know.
Well, Otis is coming, and they're not coming anywhere. They're gone. I don't know where they are, but they're just disappeared. We have a great feature up on the website, damn it, about how great about how great Primo Cologne is, but
It's like the most attention that's happened.
He's gone.
It's really mind-boggling that they haven't been released, because there's just everything points in that direction. They're not being used. They're not injured. They're wrestling for other companies. Like, it's not even like they're getting paid to sit at home. They're just like, go wrestle for your dad's promotion, or like, it's just like, what? So it's so weird that they didn't release them, because they released Harper, Sin Cara, and The Ascension, and I can understand why they released them. They all seemingly, well, Harper and
They all
Sin Cara
asked for it. Oh, well, at least
those two definitely
yeah.
did. And The Ascension might have, more than likely they did, especially since Victor tweeted out freedom afterward. There's been a couple other people that have publicly said that they are asking for their release. So they didn't release Mike Kanellis.
I thought he was gone.
I thought so too. They didn't release Kalisto or Grand Metalik. And those
I don't
two,
blame them for Kalisto.
Yeah, I can understand wanting to keep those two around. They could at least use them as a tag team and job them out for the next couple of months. Because their deals are up, I think, in May, if I remember correctly. A couple months ago, Kalisto had tweeted out that their deals were up in 10 months. I just don't remember how many more months are left on that. And I'm sure that there's other people, too. And, like, Rusev hasn't re-signed, as far as I'm aware. Maybe
Lana did.
I don't know. Yeah, Lana did, and I really don't understand that. Maybe because they were like, oh, you can overact and do this thing. And she was like, great, I love overacting.
You broke the law.
Ugh, I hated that segment tonight so much. But I'm really glad that they released these guys, because Luke Harper in particular, when he's got to go to AEW. I know that AEW doesn't want to just pick up everybody. And for that matter, if I were AEW, I wouldn't pick up Sin Cara and The Ascension. I'd be fine with letting them go. But
The Ascension deserve a chance. They proved in NXT that they can get over. They were buried upon arrival to the main roster.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't their fault.
They never recovered.
No, they were hot in NXT. And, I mean, credit where it's due. Connor, that dude had really nothing going for him. And they gave him this rat boy gimmick. And that was like, okay, this is a death knell. He's done.
I've been watching some of that since he got released. That shit's funny. It's bad, but that shit was funny. He was making it work.
He was doing the best he could, and it wasn't going to work out. And then he goes and they form the Ascension, and it's like, wow, okay, they're doing some stuff in NXT. Like, they're kicking some ass. Let's bring them up to the main roster and completely fuck them up and never give them a chance. And that sucks, you know? And Sin Cara, he tried. I don't think that he was ever going to really go as far as they would have hoped, especially since they had two people trying to do that. But he's still got some stuff to give. So here's where I'd put them. I mean, of course, it depends on who's interested and who's going to potentially sign anywhere and what they want to do, too. Brody, Luke Harper, he goes to AEW. Sin Cara, if he's interested, because I'm hearing that he might be interested in MMA, he could go to Del Rio's thing.
He's going to go to Combate Americas.
That's where I'd like to see him go.
Apparently, they want him as a ring announcer, though, which is weird. Cause,
yeah.
Like,
didn't expect that.
Yeah. Very weird.
And the Ascension, I'd say, you know what? Send those guys to, like, I don't know why. I got a feeling they would work better in Impact.
Eh, no, because then they're doing a weird gimmick.
I don't see them
Um,
being like a big deal going over to AEW though. And I kind of get a feeling that MLW, I'm not too familiar with MLW's work, so that's another thing that it's like, I'm not judging based off of the right criteria, but like, I would think that would come off a little bit more like a demotion than going to Impact, where there's still like a little bit of that whole like, well, I got this person, we're gonna get the RVD, we're gonna, like that kind of thing. I think MLW is more so like, at least my impression of it is MLW is more like what Ring of Honor used to be, where you're training
MLW,
people to get to the next level. And if they go down to that, I think it's going to be like, okay, they're washed up, you know.
I think MLW is fantastic. I think they are one of the better promotions outside of WWE or AEW right now. If not, listen, I'll be honest. I think it's WWE, AEW, probably Impact, then MLW, then Ring of Honor as far as in the States. Obviously, there's New Japan and AAA and stuff like that. But in the States, those are the big things, in my opinion.
Would that be kind of cool if the Ascension went over to New Japan?
They'd get over like $1 million.
That'd be kind of cool. I'm
Uh,
hoping the best for all four, because I do think all four of them didn't get quite the shake of the stick that they should have. But at the same time, I'm also going like, well, this has been a long time coming for the Ascension.
well, you listen, Luke Harper, you can't say didn't have a hell of a run. This dude wrestled Undertaker on pay-per-view. This guy was in the ring with The Rock. Like, he got to do things. His match with Dolph Ziggler, great ladder match for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, former Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion.
So
But
you
I still
can't
feel like
say
he had more potential that they didn't want to tap into. And I still feel like he should have been repackaged. Like when he
he was
came
like
back,
he was like a match away from the main event of WrestleMania 33 with
yeah.
Wyatt Norton.
And people, myself included, wanted him to be in that. It was like, fucking give him that now. Like, do it, I was rooting for that to be the type of thing where it was like, you know what? Maybe they end up going with Harper. Maybe they give him the belt. Maybe he changes up his look a little bit. Maybe they, like they could have done something there and they didn't. And I think that was really the end game. That was just like, all right, that's the closest you're going to get. Fine. I don't want to be in this company anymore. And I don't
Well, the
blame him at
Bludgeon
all for
Brothers were
that.
good, and I
In
even liked,
retrospect, I'm not a big fan. I feel like
but
it
I
was
even
kind of a
liked
weak
him with
version.
uh Harper now. I mean Rowan now, like 2 months ago against Brian and Rayans. I thought that was good.
Would you have thought that we'd be in a situation where currently in WWE, Luke Harper's gone, Bray Wyatt is playing a Mr. Rogers type character, Braun Strowman is one of like the most obvious baby faces,
Yeah, but
and
they're
Eric
sleeping on him.
Rowan's getting a push where he's carrying around something in a cage and wearing heavy metal
He
t-shirts.
he owns a victory over Roman Reigns on TV on a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
You can't take that away from him.
a
I
future
love
legend.
stupid things like that because you can't. He wrestled The Rock in his last match. You fucking can't take that away from him
Yeah, it's crazy.
until The Rock comes back. Eric Rowan had his last match.
Depending on where these people go, where would you like to see them? What would you like to see them do? Like, I would assume Luke
Bro,
Harper goes with Brody Lee,
Brody
and
Lee
he's just
goes
him.
to GCW, does the deathmatch stuff with Jimmy Lloyd and Nick Gage and all that stuff for a little bit. Then he's just the AEW guy, which he deserves to be.
Well,
Uh,
actually, really quick, is there any word on if these guys are under the 90-day clause?
I do believe they are.
I would assume that they would be. So we're not going to see them popping up anywhere for another 90 days. So
So like AEW's first pay per view of the year, maybe we see him then.
yeah, maybe if they do it in February, then we can't. But if it's in March, okay. Yeah.
My guess is Victor goes on to be a trainer at like Fandango and not Fandango, Breeze and his school with
Oh
who's he
yeah,
got the school with?
who is what? I'm blanking on that too.
Oh, Dillinger, Sean Spears.
Ah, yeah.
So he goes on to do that. Connor, maybe I don't know, falls face of the earth, becomes a real estate agent. you know,
It is one of those things that's weird that a lot of people do become real estate agents, and it's just, I mean, my father was a real estate agent, and I don't remember ever coming across somebody who's like 7 foot tall jack dude just being all like, yeah, I used to fucking beat people up in the ring, but you know what I do now? I make sure you get in the right home.
well, there's weird shit like Mark Mara just is a motivational speaker now, which I just find funny because I think, okay, cut a motivational speech as Johnny B. Bad, please. Like, full regalia, do it. Maybe that's what Connor does. Maybe he sells good homes to rats. Like, it's
God,
who knows?
what if he became a rat catcher? Some kind
That'd
of
be
like exterminator or something like that, and he's just
well,
kind of
then
like,
he's back in WWE with a special weekly program on the network called Rat Boy Chases Rats.
and he just goes like, I know that they like this type of cheese.
Because I like this. Don't sleep on the Gouda, folks. Yeah, and Sin Cara can do whatever he wants. CMLL, AAA, Nacion Lucha Libre, Combate Americas. Like, he's got it all open for him.
What's Cara Seaton doing in the Impact Zone?
That's the best you could do.
What else we got going on here? We got Hall of Famers. Actually, this is the last hot tag that I've got written down. Out of nowhere today. This is a lot earlier than they normally do.
Talk about out of fucking nowhere.
We get 2 things confirmed for the Hall of Fame. Batista and the first 4 members of the nWo.
This is bullshit. It's bullshit.
Well, first thing I want to bring up. Really, right now, December 10th or December 9th at the time?
I think they want those tickets to sell. They're going on sale Friday.
Okay. All right. That's got to be it then. Because that's like, how many times are we in March?
I think this year alone, we were like, who the fuck is going in this Hall of Fame?
Like, every year, one of the things on the schedule is Wrestling with the Past Hall of Fame, where we discuss our memories about the different people and the people that haven't gotten into Hall of Fame yet, different things like that. And I remember this year thinking, like, my God, we might not even get that information until the end of that. And I don't think that they had announced the Legacy Award people this year until, like, the day we were doing the podcast or something like that. But this year, it's like, all right, well, here's, like, the 2 headlining act, most likely. I don't think they're going to get anybody that's, like, as big as that. But Batista, that makes sense to me. They don't do things based off of location as much. And Batista wrestled his last match last year. He's a big
But
name.
he lives in Florida. That's a location-based thing.
Oh, okay. Well, then that might be something to do with it, too. nWo, though.
That is completely location-based. Hogan's in Tampa. Hall is in Florida. Nash is probably also in Florida.
I've said before, I don't like these 2-time Hall of Famer type things. And this one, even more so, is throwing me off because all 4 of them are already in the Hall of Fame. It's not even like like when they inducted Neidhart, and for some reason they felt like they needed to put Brett in with it.
Or like you got China.
As a part of DX. Like,
listen,
that's the way that they incorporated a bunch of different people, and it just happened to be Shawn Michaels being a number 2. Or like, you're not going to
he was the only number 2.
Yeah, you're not going to induct Stevie Ray on his own. So, okay, it makes sense you do Harlem Heat. Even though I still don't really like that anyway. But this is like, you're not even incorporating another person into the mix. That, like, it's so weird.
Hogan, Hall, and Nash deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as the NWO. I 100% feel that way. Especially because, oddly enough, when Hall and Nash went in the Hall of Fame, they were in it as Razor and Diesel.
Didn't didn't
Nash
one of
was
them?
advertised as Diesel, and then for some reason, day of, they're like, "It's Kevin Nash."
I don't
Let's
think
dissect this.
of X-Pac as being one of those guys. Like,
Let's dissect that. Okay. First of all, WWE missed a good chance to yell, "We're making history here!" Because Sean Waltman goes in back-to-back years.
very strange.
Because they don't want it to just be Hogan, Hall, and Nash for some reason, but they also can't be bothered to go, "And here's Buff Bagwell." The first four members, they're not. His name was literally 6. This isn't even like me being wrestling nerd guy. His name was literally 6 because he was the 6th member of the NWO. The 4th was DiBiase. The 5th
Was Giant,
Big
right?
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, who should be in this, by the way. Because why not? You know you're going to induct him on his own, and yeah, that's fine. But Big Show should be in this. Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton. Let's be real. They won't do Scott Norton. But you could have easily gotten in Bagwell. You could have gotten in Scott Steiner here. And I'll say this. If you don't want to get in those guys, fine. Take out Waltman. Put in Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff.
That should have been the 4.
Eric Bischoff deserves to go in as part of the NWO because literally it's the only thing, it is the only thing in 83 weeks that they concede to going, "That was good by Eric. NWO was good. That kicked our ass." That is the only thing they concede to. Eric should be going in with the NWO.
And that would at least make the excuse of saying, okay, Bischoff is the one that you're inducting as to the new guy, and we're just putting these extra people around him.
And it's Hogan, Hall, and Nash, and you're not going to not want to hear them talk.
It's such a strange idea to me, and that really makes it seem like it's like, all right, you're just, over these past couple of years, you're really trying to screw up that Hall of Fame thing. Because now it's...
Right down to the photo. Have you've seen the photo, right?
That's part of the thumbnail for this.
It's a fucking... the worst Photoshop. Like, it's clearly a picture of Hall, Nash, and Pac in WWE, and Hogan is, like, tacked onto the side as though he's with them. Because it's like, oh, well, you know, Pac never took a photo with Hogan, I don't think. I don't like that they chose to throw him in there. Don't even put him in there. Let it be Hogan, Hall, and Nash. Let them talk for 5 minutes each about, "Hey man, we changed the business, brother. And you know when you're NWO for life, and get out of there." And let Batista be the headliner.
Because, I mean, maybe they don't want to induct Bischoff because they just fired him and all that stuff, but to
That's
me...
more of a reason to induct him, bro. You brought him into your company and you let him go after a month because one show went down in the ratings.
That is another thing, but like, if they were open to that idea for any reason, which that Bischoff has nothing to do with this from what they've said so far, but like, I would think that you could get around this by doing something by saying like, hey, Eric Bischoff is going to be inducted, and the people who are going to induct him are Hogan, Hall, and Nash. And that way you get the star power without having to induct them a second time. Like, it's so weird to me. Like, by now we've had more than enough examples that it's clear that they're just going to do this going forward. So now it's like, all right, well, Triple H will get inducted as part of Evolution. Triple H will get inducted again as part of the Authority.
Triple H. No, he hasn't gone in as Triple H yet.
Maybe they'll do that. If they decide that they want to do like any tag team type thing, they're just going to do it over and over again.
Michaels is going in 4 times because he's going in with Jay.
I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if they didn't put them in.
I think that's a little rude to Jannetty. I would like to see Michaels show up here and be like, "Oh, I was in the NWO." I think that bit would be hysterical. Like,
or Sting.
Yeah, like Sting, or you get bogus Sting to show up for a night.
I'm not a big fan of the whole NWO thing. I mean, I'm a big fan of NWO from when it happened, but I don't like the idea of that being into the Hall of Fame. I don't like anybody. Ric Flair should not be a 2-time Hall of Famer. Shawn Michaels should not be a 2-time Hall of Famer. They should not be 2-time Hall of Famers. That's the way I see it. Batista has said. Batista said that he thinks that Finlay should induct him.
That's not what people would expect, but it's totally understandable.
Who do you think should induct the NWO?
Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff should be here.
Yep. Which makes me think, makes me think, okay, well, nobody's going to.
If not him, then Sean and Hunter need to come out and talk for 5 minutes, put over their buddy, joke about Hogan, and get out of there.
I don't even think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be a video package, and then they're going to come out. Because isn't that what happened with
because
DX?
It's going to be like... Yes, but they got to do the whole bit where they're like, yeah, too sweet me. We did this. This is our thing. And then Hogan tries to do it. It's like, no, fuck you. Fuck you.
And he's like, fine, I'll just play the guitar. And then Kyle O'Reilly's like, God damn it.
You can get the Undisputed Era to do it.
Yeah, it's just a weird choice. But I'm glad that Batista's going in. He deserves it. And he should be the headliner.
One of the best people from the modern era, if you want to call it that.
From that 2000, the mid 2000s to 10 years later, that kind of gap, like
that OVW4 man.
Yeah, like he was a big fucking star. He won the title multiple times. He made a big career out of himself, and now he's a popular enough name that it's like, yeah, there's no reason why he shouldn't be inducted.
Guardians of the Galaxy, man.
Yeah. Stuber.
Stuber.
Never saw it.
He brought James Gunn back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. All that much more reason to induct him. Curious what happens with Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke has been saying about that she needs to go shopping for the great outfit and all that other kind of stuff. There's a part of me that actually wants that to work out. You know what I mean?
That's a real thing, right? They're doing it.
At the very least, if they didn't before, they should think about it now.
Hold on, I apologize for just throwing it out there like that, but there, something is there.
It's weird. It's the type of thing that it's like, I'm not a gossip, who's dating who type of person.
Well, you should be. That's the industry we're in, or at least based on some of the shit I've had to post, it's the industry we're in.
I hate that kind of stuff. I never click on celebrity stuff. Like, oh, who's Kristen Stewart dating? I'll be like, I don't fucking care who she's dating.
That's a weird name for you to just throw out there.
I don't know why she came to my mind first. But, like, it's like, well, she's not dating me, and I'm okay with that. And the end. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, she could be fucking Ben Stiller. She could be fucking whoever. I don't know. And it doesn't change anything about my life. But this Batista and Dana Brooke thing, I'm like, go have fun, kids. Kind of thing. Not a big fan of the Drake Maverick storyline. I'll say that.
I fucking hate that. Oh, that's not.
I do like that they're making Elias babyface again.
I like that they're utilizing Dana Brooke.
Yeah, she's finally doing something.
Speaking of finally doing something, you want to run through Raw real quick? Just because Liv Morgan and that other heel turn that we should digest.
Yeah, let's talk about Raw. Why not? Wrap it up with a little bit of Raw talk. So we started off with the fucking awful segment. Rusev and Lana, they're having a divorce segment proceedings.
Who hosted the divorce, Tony?
Jerry Lawler. How the hell did he not say something?
What's supposed to be out is they're clearly putting him in these these roles because he's the divorce guy, and then they're not playing with it.
Like, he could have very easily been like, I'm gonna oversee the divorce proceedings. I totally understand how this works. Like, it could have been something like that. Like that,
He's like, I've been through this several times.
make sure you sign this part of the paper. Like, it could have been having some fun with that. Instead, it's, you're not gonna take the dog. It's my dog. Oh yeah, well, I gave it to you. And this is like the fifth time that this has happened with Lana, where I don't know if they're purposely doing this or what, but that line makes no sense. And I'm glad that Rusev was like, yeah, that's the whole fucking point. Like, you
It's
gave the
weird,
dog
but
to
like,
me.
I'm almost wondering if this is like a master plan by Lana to get her husband more over again, because Rusev, now as the common man, is getting super over again. And they were playing off that Rusev Day shit. He wore a Donald Duck shirt to his divorce, which is great.
It's like the Bob Ross thing, the Donald Duck thing. Is it like a new gimmick now? It's just gonna wear
Yeah,
like
like
some
he's
weird
just
things.
wearing weird graphic tees. I love it.
It's so weird. And then of course it turns into the whole thing of, I want to fight with Bobby Lashley. I'm gonna put him through a table, which means tables match at TLC.
Did they
Because
confirm it?
yep. We're at that time of the year where if anybody grabs any kind of particular weapon, then you
Wait,
go,
did they
yep,
confirm the women's tag
yep,
match?
yep.
What are they doing?
Well, after like 6 goddamn segments on this episode of Raw, where it was very clear that they were going to do a TLC match for the tag titles, they went out of their way to do like, well, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about it, then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to go, hey, TLC match. So it's
Are they doing a TLC match?
yeah.
So they're doing 2 TLC matches.
Which, by the way, means that they're doing 2 ladder matches.
Is that a first time ever, Tony?
It's the first time ever, because it's the first time ever that King Corbin is in a TLC match. Because if he was in any of the other ones in the past, he was not King Corbin at that time.
It
And for
is
the
the first time
ever, the women's tag team titles are being defended in a TLC match.
It's
And for
definitely the first women's
time,
tag team TLC.
it's just, I hate that crap so much. God,
And for the first time ever, Bobby Lashley's in a tables match.
For the first time ever, Donald Duck was represented by Rusev on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, for the first time ever, Rusev wore a Donald Duck shirt.
I hated the overacting in this segment so much. Like, I forget Lana's line, but it was something like, that's why our marriage failed or something. And she was like, that's why our marriage failed. And it's like, oh, God. And then you don't start off an episode with something as bad as this. Like, at least it was the type of thing where it was like, well, we can't go anywhere but up from here. And throughout the night, they did this a lot. They wasted a lot of time on this episode where it was like, let's just kind of track one storyline here and there. Like, there's like 7 segments with Kevin Owens. But the way to boil it down, if I can use my phrase, is Kevin Owens is like, yeah, I need to find AOP. And Rey Mysterio's like, yeah, I got a lead pipe. You want it? And he's like, cool. Fast forward. Seth Rollins is like, I'm actually a part of AOP.
I like the reveal.
All right. It's the type of thing where they dragged this out a little bit longer than I thought that they needed to. So that kind of bugs me. But they could have done it worse. I liked that. Actually, all of it. The part that I liked the best was Owens backstage with Mojo Rawley. Where, I don't know why, Mojo Rawley's like, yeah, they went that way. Actually, they went that way. Actually, they went both ways. It's like, what the fuck is the matter with Mojo? But I love that Owen slaps him and he goes, you just went that way. I'm like, you know what? That's like an Austin type of thing. I like that they're doing that with Owens.
This could have been Mania. And now I'm worried about what Rollins is going to do at Mania.
Well, they're dragging this out. Owens gets taken out on a stretcher, which means that more than likely they wrote that out of TLC. So, the 2 weeks following TLC are going to be utterly pointless. I mean, they're going to do one thing on one of those shows to try to make it seem like it's not. So they'll probably have like the United States title change hands or something like that. But Other than that, they're going to drag their ass. So I'm assuming that they do this Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins thing all the way up until Royal Rumble.
Yeah. But then again, Mania, I'm like, heel Rollins seems like such a good fit for Punk. But I don't want to be that guy who's like, CM Punk return confirmed, you know. But damn, it does seem like a good fit.
If I look at the Raw roster right now, I really don't feel like there's a guaranteed thing for anybody. Like, who
Not
would
even
fight?
Brock.
Yeah, like who would fight Brock? You know,
Which is weird because the past few years it's been like nothing but a guarantee for Brock, where you're just like, yep, Brock versus Roman. Yep, Brock versus Goldberg. Yep, Brock versus Roman. You know,
I'm
but
hoping that it's Kevin Owens, and I'm hoping that he wins the title. But I've hoped that in the past and didn't get my wish. So I'm hoping this is what I'm hoping at the very least happens. I mean, they might change everything and then the next day or something like that. But even though I think that they're dragging out the Rollins thing a little bit longer than they need to, I think we're getting Rollins and Owens at Royal Rumble. And they seemed like they wanted to do McIntyre versus Orton, yet at the same time, they're also doing Styles and Orton. And I'm hoping that maybe if Lesnar needs to beat somebody at the Royal Rumble,
it's Orton.
That it's Orton or that they set somebody else up well enough for it. And it's not that they sacrifice Owens.
It's Orton. So here's my prediction. My 2:30 in the morning prediction on December 10th. It's Orton at the Rumble because it's set in stone. He's a baby face. You don't have to try hard. You can build it all literally around the RKO. And maybe Paul Heyman can do the, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I'm here to expulsate the virtues of my client, who last time he was in the ring with the Viper, Randy Orton, beat him in 5 minutes, and the referee had to stop it because he beat the shit. You know, like, you can do that. Orton can just be like, yeah, but I'm going to RKO you and the place is going to go crazy. And that's a good Rumble match. Owens wins the Chamber. And it's Owens versus Brock at WrestleMania.
I'd be totally cool with that. I'd be totally cool with Owens wins the Royal Rumble and fights Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble.
I think that that's the case too. But I would also throw out the idea that if they... I hate this Rusev storyline, but if they play their cards right...
No.
Maybe they could do Rusev versus Lesnar.
No. You're not going to tell me that Bobby Lashley making out with Lana led to Rusev versus Brock Lesnar.
At Royal Rumble.
Anywhere. Like,
it could be, like, because there's not a whole lot of people. Like, you've already done the Rey Mysterio thing. I don't think that they're going to build up Ricochet enough or Aleister Black enough. So it's got to be Rusev or Randy Orton or Kevin Owens. That's really the only options.
But given those options, though, all jokes aside, Bobby Lashley is right there. How have we not done this match?
Yeah. So I don't know about that. Maybe they even make that a triple threat. I don't know. That seems like it's a mistake, but I'm getting worried more and more that they don't have a game plan for anything at all at this point, except for maybe that they're tossing around the idea that McIntyre and Orton fight at Mania. And that's why they pushed off and they put that off on the side.
That's so lame.
I think that might happen.
He's really becoming like 7 foot tall Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Sorry, Callum. I can hear Callum's blood boiling, but I mean that in the sense of like he's doing the whole "it should have been me. It should be me." I think he even said to him, Randy Orton, "You've had 93 titles. It should be me," on an episode of Raw recently.
Yeah, that's when Orton said, "What are you mad because I'm bigger than you?" I like Orton when he's being an ass.
Orton's very good at being a dick.
But there's definitely just sort of throwing McIntyre out there with nothing right now. He beat the crap out of Tozawa. He beat the crap out of Matt Hardy this week. They're just dragging that. So I feel like that's why they wanted to set that tone for the Randy Orton thing, and I think that they're going to come back to that around WrestleMania time, with or without something like the United States title, because it could be something like that. But the Styles thing seems to be like in the meantime, Styles and Orton are going to be a part of something. Yet they didn't bother to set up anybody else for Rey Mysterio to fight at TLC. TLC's looking really weird, and we're going to get into that when we talk a little bit later on this week with the predictions and stuff. But that was the thing that happened tonight. The Viking Raiders put out an open challenge. Street Profits answered the call, lost a match. Was what it was. Aleister Black beat Akira Tozawa. We started this thing with Humberto Carrillo and Andrade. No idea what they were saying in Spanish.
I'm down with that.
I don't care. I've said before, I'm not a big on Carrillo.
Why?
Didn't see anything in him, really.
That's fair. I mean, he's a little bland on the personality side, but he's very good in the ring.
Even in the ring, I don't see anything that makes me go like, wow, it's just sort of like, all right, he's good. He's good.
Well,
everybody else is fine.
Like, Owen Wilson's going, wow.
No, if that was the case, I'd be like, wow, it's fantastic. Wow. Buddy Murphy beat Zack Ryder. Becky Lynch. So here's the thing with the whole Kabuki Warriors and stuff. It was like Charlotte asks Becky, hey, you want to team up? Becky goes, nah, I'd rather fight him on my own. Just the way that Flair had done. Becky beats the Kabuki Warriors by DQ because they use a steel chair and a table because it's December. And you got to set up a stupid TLC event. And then backstage, Lynch is like, all right, yeah, you're right. And then the Kabuki Warriors attack Flair. And then
with a ladder this time.
The Kabuki Warriors challenge them to challenge them for the titles. And then Becky and Charlotte say, okay, even though we just agreed on this, let's agree to it and say it's a TLC match. And then they went, oh, by the way, that's going to happen. It's like, I fucking know. Just like, this didn't need to be 7 segments. This could have been Flair asks Becky. Becky wins that match technically by the DQ. Maybe Flair comes out to help afterward. And then you just have one of them grab a microphone and say, TLC match, whatever, and Becky agrees. Could have been, you cut out a couple segments, and then for people that are like, well, we need to set it up. You didn't need that much of a set. This was... So that's happening. We're getting the tables match. We're getting this. We're getting that.
Have they announced the chairs match yet?
No, they didn't announce that yet, which that's kind of making me a little nervous. We don't have a separate ladder match. We don't have a separate chairs match. We do have a tables match and 2 TLC matches, and apparently a non-title Bray Wyatt versus Miz match.
I want to talk about that.
Again, we'll talk about that when it comes to that, because that's something that's confusing the fuck out of me. But my favorite thing that happened on this episode, Eric Rowan goes out to fight a jobber. No idea who the jobber is. They didn't even bother saying, as far as I know. And the bell rings, and this dude runs out of the ring, runs over to the cage, sprints to the stage, drops the cage, runs all the way back around, and gets in the ring and goes, start counting, because he wants to win by count out. I fucking loved this. This is legitimately one of my favorite things WWE's done this year. Because it makes so much sense. It's like, that's so smart for a jobber to try that. And even better, they follow it up with Rowan being like, oh, wait, I'm getting counted out. You're fucking dead. He comes in and he just beats the living shit out of him to the point that the referee stops the match. And it reminded me of the whole Simpsons thing where Homer's beating the crap out of the Hamburglar. And he's like, stop, he's already dead. It's like...
it reminds me of like early Strowman when People were like, I like big, sweaty men. And he just beat the crap out of these jobbers, and like James Ellsworth shows up.
I
I
thought that
like
this was so
jobbers.
good.
I like jobbers.
It can be so fun, you know? And this
And
was fucking fun. I loved this.
you're not sacrificing your roster.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Now it's a shame I don't know who the jobber is to be like, yeah, this dude, like that was so cool that he did that. I don't know if it was
Where
his
were they at?
idea or let's see where they were. They were Greenville, South Carolina.
So I wouldn't know.
Nah, no idea. And we have a parody of the Saturday Night Live weekend update with the Street Profits. I wonder if that's going to be a thing going forward. And our main event is AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. And it ends at 11 o'clock. They ran out of time and they rushed and the pinfall happens and they immediately cut off the feed.
And with Randy Orton doing like his faces. Because Randy Orton as a baby face is a pure meme gold mine.
Who winks at people.
And it makes jerk off hand motions.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing.
I like Randy. You know, I didn't hate Raw. You know? I didn't like it. But I didn't
If you
hate it.
trimmed down this 3-hour episode of Raw to 2 hours by getting rid of a little bit of the Kevin Owens stuff, a little more, most of the Flair and Lynch stuff, and you entirely got rid of the Rusev and Lana thing, then my only complaint would be like, Black and Tozawa, I know who's going to win. Murphy and Ryder, I know who's going to win. Like, that type of thing. Like, the matches didn't wow me, but the jobber thing, amazing. That enough.
Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black have the chance to be the sleeper match of the year, right?
I don't know about of the year, but definitely of the night.
Well, sleeper match-wise, I think it could be.
They're both good. They're both underrated. They're both overlooked. Sadly, it's the type of thing that I don't think anybody's really going to care about. But I'll be watching it. I'll be enjoying it, I'm sure. I like both the guys.
It's going to be great, I think. I like a lot of this. I just don't think WWE matters in December.
And there's no excuse because there's been plenty of times throughout this whole entire year where it's been like, yeah, we'll just wait. We'll really get the ball rolling at this point. That's a shame.
Hey, it's been a year since the whole "we're listening to you" bit.
Yeah, that's true. Saw how that worked.
Yeah, they did get rid of general managers. Baron Corbin's still very much a thing and will main event this pay-per-view, though.
You think that's going to be the main event? Well, I guess we'll talk about that when we get.
It's either that or the women.
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, now we got a non-title match, so yeah.
Well, because that was so. Yeah, we'll get into it on Wednesday. Hold on, Sami Zayn showed up. I did not see this. Is he on Raw now?
Sami Zayn clarified that he can show up on both because he has a managerial license.
Woo! Boy, when you want to skirt that line, you could just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, at least I can buy into that more than some of the other piss poor excuses they've used for playing.
So are they saying like he's a wrestler on Raw and a manager on SmackDown?
No, that he's a manager on both.
Well, fuck. Everybody get a manager's license. Malcolm Bivens needs
I guess technically speaking, he's a manager on both and a wrestler on SmackDown. Yet I'm sure they're going to just have him wrestle on Raw if they want to. You know?
You want to talk about Sami Zayn calling out homophobes?
Oh, the live event thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a guy's doing that. Sami Zayn gets into an argument with him. The guy gets ejected, right?
So guy's front row. Nakamura's in the cage with the Fiend. Guy calls Sami a Canadian F word about 20 times, and Sami Zayn is caught on camera saying, "Get him the fuck out of my face, you homophobic dick." And it's great, and Sami Zayn is great, and he should be given the Warrior Award for his tremendous courage and sacrifice. I think Sami Zayn is fantastic.
Yeah, good for Sami Zayn for being just like, come on, dude.
Yeah, fuck you.
Other than that, I don't think there's any other hot tags, really.
No, I think that's it.
Yeah. So
It's only 2:30.
Yeah. Hour and 40 minutes later, we're done the hot tags. So obviously, thank you for listening to that, everybody. And thank you in advance for leaving your comments down below. I'll be reading them all when you do that because I read all the comments. And, you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You follow all the different types of accounts that we got all over the place between the audio platforms, the YouTube channel, the website, the Patreon, the merchandise shops, the fanboysanonymous.com stuff. Go to fanboysanonymous.com to check out that stuff because that's the whole point of how URLs work. And stay tuned for everything else that's happening. I mentioned before the mailbag is coming up next week, but the next thing that we're going to be doing is the WWE TLC predictions. So that's going to pop up on Wednesday, and then you'll be able to hear that when that gets up. And then of course TLC is happening this weekend, so we'll do the post show. Then we'll get into the mailbag stuff, and then we'll be at the end of the year. With the end of the year comes the end of the year awards. And then we'll start off the whole new year again with our one to watch and future endeavors forecast and start rolling into the Royal Rumble season. But those are my plugs. Rob, you got some other ones?
I got some other ones. I got Fightful.com. Great source of wrestling news. Sean Ross Sapp is a great man with a great head of hair, and you should follow his stuff and check out Fightful.com and Fightful Select. I'm also on WrestleZone Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And if you want just a centralized hub of everything going on with me, you can either follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice or check out RobertDFelice.com.
All grown up. Got a website.
I know. I feel so mature.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, that's it. That's for this Hot Tags, and we will see you next time. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.